What makes a terrible leader? Well, I believe that if you look around in our country, South Africa, or even other countries globally, or companies, even families, you will definitely pick up some areas that show bad leadership. I believe with all of my heart that a leader's heart and ear should always resonate with the cries of the people he is leading and the vision to better people's lives. That's why one of the effects of terrible leaders is that they lose trust of their people.
Today was supposed to be Mnyimba's first day back at work, following the renewal of his contract with Amatole District Municipality. However, the workers claim that not all processes were followed in reappointing him.
There's torture in this municipality. What you saw on the councillors being dragged, that's what is happening to the workers every day. If you look here in the back of me, most of these people are women. They are traumatized. They can't even come here because this man is telling them every day that there will be blood on the ground. We cannot allow such a dictator in our lives.
And we want to make a promise that as soon as we get that certificate, we are going to make sure that Mnyimba does not come and work here. And lastly, next week, Wednesday, the 8th of June, we are going to paint the streets of East London red, marching, doing a provincial march to this municipality.
The problem of not paying workers on time is often synonymous with the country's failing state-owned enterprises. But lately, the country's ruling party has joined that list. ANC workers say their lives have been severely disrupted as the party has failed to pay them on time on several occasions. And this while many ANC leaders live lavish and flamboyant lifestyles.
But when there's silence, when there's no indication as to whether I'll be paid or I will not be paid, it becomes a problem. It creates the anxiety that you see in the faces of these members of staff. It creates the frustration that you see on the faces of members of staff. Now, that is why we're saying leadership of the ANC, we have great confidence in you. But we're saying the pace that you are applying in resolving our issues is not satisfying us.
They have a potential to sink a well-fledged, fully functional business. Check this out.
The collapse of South Africa's rail and port utility Transnet is set to cost the country R1 billion a day in economic output, equivalent to 4.9% of annual GDP or 353 billion rand. Now, this was revealed in a study by the Gain Group, a boutique consultancy focusing on contract research of freight, transport in particular. Private sector has demanded the removal of top management at Transnet due to poor performing ports and rail lines. Now, Transnet has reported a 5.7 billion rand loss for the year ending March 31, compared with a 5 billion rand profit in 2022. Now, the volumes delivered by its freight rail business dropped 13.6% during the period.
South African Airways will lay off its entire workforce of around 5,000 workers at the end of April as the carrier nears collapse. The move comes after the government said it wouldn't provide more financial aid to the airline. SAA entered a form of bankruptcy protection in December and has suspended all passenger flights.
These leaders lie to their people and their team.
There will never be load shedding again. Thank you very much.
2022 was the worst year in terms of load shedding. Can you confidently tell South Africans today that 2023 will be a different year, or should we expect the same?
What I can say is that we've taken decisions on how to address the challenges that Eskom is facing, and those decisions are being implemented. We did say we have got a shortage of megawatts of power that we need to get and put on the grid. And we've now opened up the opportunity for third-party generators to generate, and that is now underway. We've opened up the processes and the permits and all that. Things that were trapped in bureaucratic processes, we've unlocked that, and it is now happening.
They have a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver. Check this out.
Khona ukuthi nihlale nazi ukuthi nakhona lapha eAlexander sisazowakha izindlu ukuthi abantu bakithi bazithola izindlu. Lokho sizakwenza.
He didn't talk about how house allocation is going to be done, because there are people who have been long waiting for the RDP houses. Instead, houses are being given to the foreign nationals, which we don't know how our government is paying us back. We vote, we lose some basic needs like housing. Imagine, like an old mother like her, she is paying a rent to a foreign national.
Thank you so much. Ramaphosa says that their electricity woes will become a thing of the past now that there's a new minister tasked with ending the country's power crisis. In terms of service delivery and job creation, this is what Ramaphosa had to say.
Nifuna imisebenzi. Ikongolosi ithi seyakha imisebenzi. Siyayazi nenye inkinga enkulu usihlalo sokhuluma ngayo inkinga yamanzi. Nayo leyo sizayilungisa. Inkinga yogesi yona enkulu ukudlula zonke okwamanje. Nizwile ukuthi ngifake uminister wegesi ozoba ebhekene nje ne-electricity.
This last point really gets under my skin. Terrible leaders don't own up. These guys don't own up to their mistakes. It's always somebody else's faults. They can blame apartheid, in our case in South Africa. They can blame private sectors. They blame staff members. They just blame everything around them. That's terrible leadership.
The challenge of electricity today, because the belief out there is that this is the result perhaps of the failure of government or the lack of leadership in the country, as many commentators say. The reality is that we are dealing with the legacy of apartheid.
Unfortunately for us, whether we like it or not, this is the result of apartheid that kept people under such conditions, and we are expected to have changed those conditions within the 30 years.
Apartheid robbed us of having a plethora of town planners in the education system. So those are the effects of apartheid.
I believe with all of my heart that there is no such thing as a terrible him, only a terrible leader. True leaders take full responsibilities and full ownership of the results of their team. What do you think? Let me hear your comment below.